Good morning and welcome to the Elevate Renatus team call. This is your host, Keely Austin, and as of right now, we have 90 participants on the line. That is awesome. Our goal is to exceed 100 participants on this call each and every day. Make sure that you reach out to your team. We do not want any ICMs left behind. Michael Huggins is an amazing individual. He got involved with Renatus about 10 years ago. And so he is someone that we can really learn from his experience, from his struggles, and from his wins. I've known Michael and Vanessa for about 14 years. They're dear friends of mine, and I'm so grateful that they brought me onto Renatus, that they thought enough of me to bring me onto their team. And they've just been such amazing leaders for me and for the nation, and I'm just so very grateful for that, and I just wanted to express that. Before Renatus, Michael was working for Jiffy Lube and for Sears Auto. So he was working two jobs. He actually didn't have enough money to afford his own car, and he couldn't even afford his own bike. So he was borrowing his brother's bicycle to ride to work, and he was embarrassed about that, and he actually would hide his bike in the bushes and go work on cars. He even had a degree in auto mechanics and ended up working at Jiffy Lube, where you don't need a degree. He was working hard to pay off his student loans, and after quite some time of paying down those loans, he went and checked the balances, and the balance hadn't even changed, and the whole time he had really just been paying interest, and that was extremely frustrating. Michael knew that he needed to make a change. At the time, he was living in his girlfriend's mother's basement, and at the time that was Vanessa. He knew that he needed to make a change, and he ended up finding Renatus. He knew that real estate investing was a great opportunity to make some income. So he found Renatus, and since then, he has become a 7-figure income earner. He's completely turned his life around with the help of Vanessa. And he's a President's Advisory Council member, so he's on the PAC with our CEO, Bob Snyder. He just bought over 240 acres in Tennessee. He and Vanessa are working on an amazing project. I'm really excited to see what they're working on, as well as going to see it someday. Good morning, Michael. I'm excited to see what you have to share with us today.
Hey, everybody. Good morning. Thanks for the intro, Keely. Appreciate it. It's been quite a wild ride these last 10 years. I'm glad that we've been able to work together and create some great things. And good morning, everyone else. Welcome. I just got a new driveway poured. I got it bright and early here. I'm in Tennessee, heading back to Denver tomorrow. And yeah, just got a new driveway poured. So I watched a bunch of YouTube videos last night. You know, when you are raised in a really small, crappy apartment situations and stuff, you never learn about building and pouring driveways and all this stuff. And so just being around this stuff, even though it's been 10 years of being around real estate investing and seeing rehabs happen, I still get excited when a dump truck shows up. So it must mean we're doing something right. If after 10 years we're still excited for some basic stuff, we're onto something great. So I'm glad you're all here. This is our first Money Monday of the decade. How exciting. And you can have it if you work hard enough. Okay. So what's on my mind is a couple of events coming up in January. Keely talked about one of them. They're both on the 18th, but one's in Denver and one's in Salt Lake City. So the one in Denver is the Super Saturday with Bob Snyder. Woohoo! This is going to be awesome. So if you've ever built for Denver and you got guests in Denver, maybe you haven't followed up for a month, a couple months, a year, whatever, time to call them up. Hey, the CEO of Renatus is in town. I know we've been talking about real estate before. If you're not making the kind of progress you want to make, let me introduce you to the CEOs helping me get what I want. So that's going to be from 9:30 until 4 p.m. And then the Salt Lake City one is it's a intensive with Mark Kohler. Yeah. Now the goal here is to get over 300 people to this one. So if you think about it, if each IMA or each ICM brings 2 to 3 people, we'll be set. So huge, huge, huge. And if you pay attention to the cycle that is Renatus, the cycle of marketing and the types of events, we're not going to have another one of these with Bob for, geez, I don't know, at least a year. And then Mark Kohler Intensive, it's going to be a while before we get another one of those. So don't think, oh, well, I'll catch the next one, because that's not how successful people think. So stay with it. So how many days away is that? It's only 12 days away. So pay attention. 12 days. So keep building. Stay focused. Add value. Okay, so speaking of adding value, I know a lot of people are a little fuzzy with this concept. So if we clean it up a little bit, I think we can make some more money. So the old idea was that we used to get paid for time. If we put time into something, we could get paid for it. But the new way we want to focus on is value. The more value we put into something, the more we can get paid. So something interesting about value is attitude. I was just listening to Napoleon Hill's lecture last night, and he's talking about going the extra mile, and he was saying it's going the extra mile is doing more than you're paid for with a pleasing attitude. Doing more than you're expected to do, doing more than you're paid for with a pleasing attitude. So the attitude is valuable, not just the action that you take, but your attitude inside of it. What else is valuable is your creativity. That is why it's so important to watch your classes so you can start getting these creative solutions to real estate. Watch your classes and develop your creativity. I mean, that's how we bought these properties in Tennessee, is getting creative and listening to their problems and adding value to them. Adding value is also ideas, support. I'm going to use the word pressure. Right? I pressured Keely to join Renatus. She knew entrepreneurship was a great way to go. She knew that network marketing and working from home is a great way to go. Money in real estate, but she didn't want to spend 20 grand. So isn't that funny? None of us do, but we all want everyone to spend it. But I'm going to call this positive pressure in the right direction, right? No pressure, no diamonds. So we got to have some pressure. So our whole goal in Renatus as an ICM is to market this education and add value. Add value to other people by giving them these ideas, these concepts, these networks, these resources, connections, or introductions. Network, valuable. And your resources. So the misconception is a lot of ICMs will be like, well, I put in all this time. I worked 20 hours this week. Where's my money? But it doesn't work like that in this situation. If you worked 30 hours, 40 hours, 50 hours, but you didn't accomplish anything, you're not going to get paid. So this is the value. I was just thinking about this. This is the value for the customer, right? All this is for the customer, the new student that's going to come on board, the new ICM that's going to come on board. This is all the value you can add to them. But I was just thinking here, there's another stack of value to add. The value to Renatus and to Bob, right? That value of enrollments, enrolling students, value of enrolling ICMs, which we should be enrolling, each of us should be enrolling 10 to 20 ICMs a month, right? It's $200, it's the best opportunity on the planet. We should be enrolling 10 to 20 ICMs each a month, each of us. So let's step it up. Following compliance. We haven't had any issues in a long time with following compliance, but I just like to put that up there. I think we don't have any issues with it because I keep bringing it up. Following the compliance department and what they want us to do. And then, you know what else is valuable? Is attending events. So if we're doing all of these, right, all of these plus all the other value adds, then why wouldn't we get paid? You get paid based off of the value that you bring. What kind of value are you bringing? Are you really pouring it on? Okay, so another one I want to add to this is honesty. I'm also going to add in here bravery. Because you got to be brave sometimes to be honest and really say what you mean. So here in America, right, let's do a quick little pie chart here. We got this teeny little sliver. And then inside this sliver, we got a friggin' slice. Okay, so here's what's happening. And this is why it's incredibly valuable what we're doing. This slice of pie here, this red that I'm covering in, this represents financially independent, according to the government, which I think is something like $39,000 a year. It's a crappy number, right? But that's where it's at. That's financially independent. This little sliver that I just drew right here, this is wealthy. So this is 1%, this is 4%. So this other 95%, what are all these people doing? They're all either broke or dead broke. This is what's happening. Okay, so part of the value that we get in marketing this education is that we're bringing in new ideas that people have never heard of, right? We're telling them that using credit cards is good. We're telling them that they can use their 401k. We're telling things, right? Crazy. It's crazy if you've never heard of it, but this is what our customers are dealing with. And they're going, I don't know. I don't know anyone like that. I don't know anyone that's doing what you are saying, what you're suggesting. So we have the land of the lost. This little rainbow that I'm drawing in here. This is the land of the lost. These are the people who they have tons of potential. They have a need. So the reason I'm bringing this up is the value. We only get paid for the value that we bring. Oh man, isn't that crazy? So the other thing is crazy is this is not new information. Earl Nightingale came out with a book 70, 80 years ago. And these were the numbers 80 years ago. And he said during that book, he said the numbers had been like that for almost 100 years. So we're looking at 150, 180 years of it being like this. What is going on? So talking to the 1% wealthy and the 4% financially independent, that's good for you because you need to see what those people are doing on a daily and weekly basis so that you can understand how they operate in the world. But they're not really our customers. Okay, our customers are in this 95%. And so one of the things that's valuable, we're talking about value, right? One of the things that's valuable is bringing this up. Bring this up with people when you're talking and you're marketing and you're prospecting and you're talking to someone who's like, yeah, I want to pursue my dream. I want to build a business. I want to get rich. I want to. That's great and all, but do they understand they got a 1% shot at this? If they do it on their own or if they do it in the traditional way of just try to build a business for 30, 40 years. Or we can just buy 10 rentals. Buy 10 rentals, make 150 grand a year, call it good. Okay, so how do I explain this? Okay, so 1% wealthy. Their actions, right? The certain things that they do. If we do them, obviously we become wealthy. Then the broke people and the actions that they take. And obviously if we take those actions. So the interesting thing is when we're having these conversations with a prospect about how cool Renatus is, and they're weighing their options, right? So they're sitting here, they're going, what shall I do? What their brain is doing if it wasn't for you, this was my experience, okay? I'm stuck in this world because I'd never been introduced to the wealthy world. So all of my actions that I can take and all of my ideas are just coming from here. So when I realize that I'm broke and I need to fix it, the first idea I did was I got a second job. So then I started going through other ideas. Do I get a third job? My next idea, do I join the military? My next idea, I go back to college. Well, the challenge with this kind of thinking is that I am just drawing from this same list of ideas that got me the same frickin' result that I was already in. So I'm trying to solve my problem, right? It's not that I've just thrown my hands up in the air. So our customers are still trying to solve their problem. But the challenge is that they're pulling ideas from this list of ideas because they've never been exposed to the wealthy side. Is this making sense? So then someone comes up to me and says, "Oh, Michael, I have an idea. Real estate." I said, "What the hell are you talking about? That's not on my list. I don't see that on my list. What the hell are you talking about? No one's ever said solve your problem by doing real estate." So it's weird. And so sometimes you might have an incredible message, the perfect idea to solve their problem, but because it's not in their list that they've come across, it's hard to accept. It's hard to digest. Business ownership, entrepreneurship. And now I'm going, wait a minute. How am I going to do all of these ideas now I'm throwing my hands in the air. What do I do? I don't even know where to begin with this stuff. This is where 95% of the people are. They're willing to fix it. They recognize it and they're willing to fix it. They just don't have the right ideas. But then when I started weighing the ideas, I go, wait a minute. This versus this. Right? When all these ideas came from here. What do I really want to be? Put my time on? I got to fix my problem. I get it. So one thing that really helped me understand what we're doing as Renatus marketers is we are bringing people into the 5%, financially independent and wealthy. We're bringing them into a different world. So when you bring up Renatus, when you bring up these concepts, if they haven't considered it before in their life, then you might have to have some long conversations with them. So now a lot of us on the call, we had been thinking about money and real estate and business and finance for a long time. So when Renatus came up, it was easy to decide. But for some of you, Renatus was the first time you had thought about entrepreneurship. So you had to think about it a lot longer before you said yes. If we understand this, this is like a Band-Aid. And this is the cure. You got the cure right here. This is just a Band-Aid. So cool, if you're bleeding, all right, cool, go get a job. Maybe you need to get a second job. That's fine. No big deal. Get to work. But it's not the cure. So the reason I bring this up is because this idea, if you accurately share this idea and get it into someone's head that it's now time to switch the actions they're taking and switch the list of ideas with which they're drawing and make a change, and they make that switch, we have now created some value. we create enough value, what happens? We get paid. So a little bit of advice on this. When you're having this conversation, do your best to stay out of, this is not about right or wrong. This is not about good or bad. So don't say having a job is bad, having a second job is bad, going back to college is bad or wrong. We're not doing that. We're also not saying real estate is right and entrepreneurship is good and business is right and good. We're not doing that either. Okay, it's about, some of you should know what I'm about to say. It's about effectiveness. That's it. It's about being effective. You got a big ass problem. You're 30 in America and broke. You're 40 in America and broke. You got a college degree, you got a smart brain, you got some work ethic, but you're still broke. It's not about good or bad or right or wrong. It's about being effective. So when you have this conversation, part of the conversation is making sure you're not making people feel bad or that they're doing something wrong. You're just saying, look, man, it's just not effective for your goal. If your goal is to stop being broke, getting a second job might be the Band-Aid, but it's not the cure. It's about being effective. So I want to be effective with you, right? You answered my ad. We're at this networking event. We bumped into each other at Lowe's or Home Depot, or you're the dump truck driver that just poured the driveway. You're going to hear about. But it's not about being right or wrong. It's about being effective. Hey, man, have you ever considered investing in real estate? Yeah, there's actually an investment here, too. Have you ever thought about it? Oh, no, I'm too old for that. Oh, come on, man. I know people in their 70s, 80s that are kicking butt doing this with us. No, it's not for me. Blah, blah, blah. Well, has your wife ever considered it? Would she be interested in real estate? Oh, no, no, we don't like to take risks. Okay. Hey, I at least tried. I asked. I didn't make him right or wrong. We stayed friends. I got his card. It's not for everybody. That's fine. But one of the major keys of why some of you ICMs are making incredible money and some of you aren't is because we got it backwards in our head about how we get paid. You still think you're getting paid for time, but we're really only getting paid for value. Another thing that's very valuable is eliminating or overcoming excuses. So if you can legitimately help someone overcome or eliminate an excuse or an obstacle, then again, we've created some more value. So the law of compensation is keeping track of all of this. This is the other thing we got to remember with this stuff. Okay, there's this thing called the law of compensation. And rarely, this is what Napoleon Hill said in the law of compensation, rarely does the compensation source, rarely is the compensation source the same as where you added the value. Right? So we add the value, we get the compensation. In your old brain, the compensation was hourly pay. Right? The old was hourly pay. Hours and dollars. But the new way is profit. Profits are better than wages. The challenge with this, though, and it's the opposite of the way we've been trained with employee brain, is there's a lag time. There's a delay from adding the value to then being compensated. So some of you take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back because you think that you're doing something wrong because of the delay in the compensation. Something you've been working hard, but it's just not coming to you the speed you want it. Well, the good news about this. I have some great news for you. Great news, everybody. All delays accrue interest. All delays accrue interest. They collect interest. Did I spell accrue right? Maybe. They collect interest. Some of you, when I think about it, and I laid the groundwork in 2011, when I got started, 2012, 2013, those 3 years, 36 months, I barely made 100,000 in 3 years. Right? In 150 weeks, I barely made 100,000. But now I went from 150 weeks to make 100,000 to where I can now do 100,000 in about 10 weeks. But I'm still doing the same amount of work. So all that compensation for being focused and diligent is now catching up to me. So the point is, I want you to be excited about it. Get excited about this because it's compound interest. It grows, kind of like nature, right? You plant 1 tomato seed in the ground, you only get 1 tomato. Huh? No, you get 20, 40, 50 tomatoes. And then in each tomato, how many seeds are there? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 seeds. But you had to wait 6, 8, 9 months to get the tomato, right? So it's mimicking nature. And sometimes we psych ourselves out and we think, oh, it's taking too long, it's taking too long. And we're pushing this boulder up this mountain, right? You're pushing, you got this gigantic mountain that we're climbing. Here you are, down here. You're pushing a boulder. You're trying to roll this son of a gun up the mountain. And you take a few steps and your old brain says, oh, I should be compensated already, man. I've been working for a month and nothing's happened. I've been working for 3 months and nothing's happened. So you make a little bit of progress and then you stop and it rolls right back down. And then you just hang out right here and go, well, they said it was a good idea, so maybe I'll try it again. It's not working. And this is where most ICMs hang out. Do not ever, ever, ever let your foot off the gas, off the accelerator. Because if we took this off, man, and you just kept chugging away, it's not necessarily fun. But when we finally get to the top, we have so much stored energy in this boulder that we could push one more teeny little bit and it'll roll all the way back down with no effort. So we need our consistent effort. We need as consistent as possible. And not just consistent effort, because we talked about value, consistent attitude. This attitude, I'm here to add value. I'm doing the right thing. I'm building my future. I'm adding value. I'm doing the right thing. I'm leading people. being honest and being brave, and creating connections, enrolling students, and adding value. So with this law of compensation, if you're down here thinking hourly, of course you're going to stop. But if you know that compensation is coming no matter what, and it's accruing compound interest, wouldn't you work for 5, 6, 7, 8 years to be consistent? Okay. Every single thing will be compensated for. But if you give up early and you let it roll back, you get that little bit of compensation, whatever comes there. Okay, it's all tracked. Every bit is tracked. Not by me, by your vibrational escrow account. It's all being tracked. Okay, so you don't have to worry about it. You just keep working. You just keep doing the right thing. You just keep adding value. Adding value, adding value, adding value. Okay, any questions? Where's the chat? Oh, we got some chats. Okay. Okay. 1 second, Anthony. I will answer that question in 1 second.
Hey, Michael, how's it going? Can you hear me?
This is Keely. I can hear you. I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, you guys are still transmitting.
What? Sorry. Say that again.
Hey, Michael, it's Jenna.
Hey.
Hey, so I'm, still working with really being able to communicate in a really effective way with people that are older and a lot more successful. I've come across quite a few other people who consider themselves quite successful in like sales and business and entrepreneurship, but I definitely wouldn't consider them part of that 4%. And I just, even when I'm leveraging stories and leveraging the knowledge that I already have from my education, I feel like they're still quite not taking me seriously.
Well, where on this checklist of value do you feel like you're being weak? You have the right attitude?
I would say so.
Okay. Are you bringing creativity to these people
Yep.
and ideas?
Yep.
Positive pressure?
Yeah, I think so as well.
Are you being 1000% honest?
Yes.
When you
And
think
that's what, go
they're
ahead.
full of shit, do you say, I think you're full of shit?
Yeah, I've definitely been challenging their objections and challenging like the things that they have to say and being honest. And I think that's part of it too, is they're like, so what have you done so far as real estate deals? And that's where the hang up I think is as well. So that's obviously one thing I'm working on with utilizing the education and getting into deals as well. But that's why I'm leveraging the knowledge that I know and bringing these creative ideas, especially from like Chris Albert's
Think
classes.
about that for a second. Think about it for a second. You're talking to someone who's more successful than you, and you're sharing them with them an idea on how they can do better, and they turn around and say, but what have you done? But they're the ones that are supposed to be more successful than you. So why would that matter?
Right. So how would I phrase that to reflect that back?
Does that matter?
You said, just say, does that matter?
No, I would say, how does that matter?
Oh, how does that matter?
When I'm talking to you, what Renata's going to do for you, how does it matter what I'm working on, right? I'm some crazy ass hippie building salvaged tiny homes in an abandoned piece of land. What the hell does that matter to you? You're trying to, right? Like, who knows what my strategy is? My strategy has nothing to do with your strategy. But I do know that if you don't get on this tax thing, you're going to have a lot of money confiscated. That's all I'm saying.
Cool. Thank you.
So think about that. If they're in a better financial position than you, and then they say, well, what have you done? They're coming at it from the wrong place. It doesn't matter, right? You're not trying to say, hey, I'm better than you, follow me. You're trying to say, hey, I found something that could help. Check it out. When I went down to the Kubota dealership to look at some of these skid steers to buy, and because we need some more equipment on the land, right? These are $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 machines. The guy I'm talking to that's selling it to me doesn't own one. He knows how they work. He can fix them. He knows about the sales side of it, but he doesn't freaking own one. So I don't look at him and go, well, I'm not going to buy one unless you have one. Right? Like it doesn't work like that. That's just closed mind thinking. So we got to think, well, where is that person actually coming from? We haven't built some trust or something, right? You go to the Porsche dealership. Not every Porsche salesperson is driving a Porsche. You go into the Beamer dealership. Not every salesperson is driving a Beamer. So that doesn't mean Beamer is now all of a sudden lower quality because one of their salespeople drives a Chevy. So I might even bring that up in the conversation. But again, I would also say, well, what does my result have to do with your results? Right? Still being 1,000% honest and kind at the same time. There's a way to be honest and kind, not just honest and rude. But I've said that a lot. What do I have to do with that? And then, give me a real answer. And if you have a real answer, then I'll answer you. But if you don't have a real reason for asking that, then get out of my face and let's talk about you again. I know it's a little aggressive, but at that point when you're having that kind of conversation, maybe aggression's called for. All right, cool. Thanks for your question. All right, Anthony says, what about the value the customer brings to you? Don't look all your money. What about his network? Everybody knows his stud, his investment, his knowledge, his time, his credit. Dude, you're totally right. The whole other side of the value chain that the customer is bringing. The value to you. There's a lot more to recognize here. So Anthony says, we're too fast to chase the money only and then get disappointed when we don't get paid immediately versus delayed gratification. Using other currencies to help get the money and buy the education and become ICM. That's right, man. If you're ever in a hurry, it's just too chaotic. It pushes people away. Sandra says, who here was not thinking real estate investing when they got introduced to Renatus? Sandra, I'd say at least half. At least half, right? Like, I know almost everyone in my family that I've enrolled, including people like Keely, they weren't thinking real estate. They knew they wanted to make more money. They knew they wanted to change something, pay off debts, but they didn't think real estate was the way to do it. So it's not necessarily a very common thought process. That's why it's so valuable when you get out there, put that idea in their head, and get them to take action on that idea. You've revolutionized their whole life, their family's lives, the people they're going to touch for the next 30, 40, 50 years are still alive. Because they're going to be completely different. And that's so valuable. So we got an important mission. It's 2020. We're trying to change people's lives, right? We've been around as a company for 9 years, almost 10 years, and more people are in poverty now than when we started. So imagine if we weren't around, what would be happening to this country? So we got to step it up. We got to step it up in a big, big way. So 2 opportunities to do that here in Salt Lake and in Denver. Then, of course, your own all around the country. I think it's time to step it up. You got a question, Renee?
No, my cat just hit the phone.
Okay, so we got our law of compensation. We talked about this idea and the fact that this person's trying to solve their problem and they're thinking, how do I do this? As soon as you say real estate, they got some obstacles in their head. You get rid of those obstacles, get them on that path. Your life will never be the same again. And you'll get some compensation for changing a life. It's not just making a sale, it's changing a life. So when you're out there talking to people, don't make them wrong. Don't make their ideas bad. It's just effective. Do you want to get rich in 10 years or not? Right? It's up to you. Still got to work hard. None of this ever say work hard. We're still going to work hard. It's just a lot of compensation. We can work hard chopping vegetables, or we can work hard planting vegetables. It's still hard work, but one's going to keep producing, where one we just ate it and now we have nothing. Right? So let's go be effective. Let's get out there in the world, make a difference. Call some people you didn't think you were going to call today. And push that boulder. Get it going. Stay focused for the next 5 years. Right? Look back in 2025. Don't even look in your rearview mirror. Don't even let off the gas. Don't even take a breath for 5 years. When you look back up and go, oh, this is incredible. Look what's going on. So delayed gratification, it's a major key. Build your networks, build some relationships. You're gonna make some lifelong friends. Some of your friendships will be worth way more than the money you're getting. So look at it as people. All right, Anthony's throwing one more thing in here. When I was coaching, I was ranted by one of my ex-college dudes about how many coaches are on Fortune 500. I said, I'm not sure, but I know many of the people in the Fortune 500 that I'm coaching. You don't have to be playing the game to be the best coach, but you have to know how to help others to be the best. Now it's following. So another point, you don't have to be a Fortune 500 CEO to coach Fortune 500 CEOs. So Jenna, to that same point, right? You don't have to have 25 rental properties to help someone get into Renatus to get a rental property. It's good news. Okay, I got to hop on the founders webinar or PAC call. Thank you guys so much for being here, engaging with me this morning. We had 119 people. This is awesome. And this is being recorded, so check back on the YouTube channel to catch the recording, share it with your teams, and go out there and use this stuff. Go make a difference, everybody. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you soon. Money Monday. Get after it. Go make some calls. Invite. Follow up. Talk to you soon. Bye.